Hi, my name is Ollie and I'm here at the 2026 Boot Dusseldorf. I'm exceptionally excited to announce that this is the global debut of the 56 CS. As a starting point, we'll start in the cockpit area. So I think the best way to describe it is a bit of a hybrid between a center cockpit and an aft cockpit. The twin helms, really nice open aft deck mixed with that really nice enclosed safe space with the high coamings is exceptionally comfortable. So sat there for long periods of time, especially as this is a blue water boat, you are going to be naturally making long distance passages on autopilot. So being sat there, or even with the high coach roof and the really nice windscreen, just being sat on the companionway and looking over if the weather's particularly foul with the bimini up is an absolute ideal situation. One feature that has been adapted for 56 is the addition of a T-top, which is made out of carbon fiber and is actually an integral structural part of the boat. So what we're able to do is actually get rid of this central winch here and have an integrated halyard built into the boom. And that makes this space even more open and more sort of secure from the elements. At the back of the boat here, as I say, every contest is a semi-custom project. So it all really depends on what the client wants and what you're looking to get out of the boat. So more med orientated, we've got a letterbox passerelle here, which is all hydraulically operated. Tender garage as well with a hydraulic bathing platform that actually has a bit of a negative rake on it. So when you want to recover your tender, you just put a roller on it, and you can just winch your tender in and it sits sideways in the back, so it doesn't really encroach on the living space down below, which you'll appreciate when we have a look in a second. Really big hatches just below me here, so one smaller one, one larger one. Again, if you wanted to put fenders in there, lines, or just access your tender, it's easily done. The sail plan of the contest is personal preference once again. If you wanted in-mast furling, slab reefing, or in-boom furling, of course that's all possible. The majority of our clients would probably favour in-mast furling just because of the ease of use, and yeah, it's just far easier to trim in all weather conditions. We can see here on the instrument panel at the helm station, everything's push button operated. So you won't really need to leave the helm station for much. Maybe if you're sort of changing or putting a code 0 on it or something like that, then yes, of course. Which brings me to another addition on the Contest 56. So on the bowsprit, the furlers have actually been countersunk into the actual bowsprit itself. So it looks exceptionally neat and tidy, just push buttons and away you go. Down here in the cockpit, we've got a nice table, which is slightly asymmetric just because it gives you a nice little bit more space to maneuver on this side, and it does get a little bit pinchy on that side, but the leaves are slightly offset, so you can see that. And if you wanted a cockpit fridge, this one doesn't have one, but of course, everything's possible. So as I'm sure you can appreciate, coming down below, that's really where you can start to see how magnificent the craftsmanship actually is on board contests. This particular color scheme is the teak interior with the light floor. Standard is oak, but a lot of people have started to sort of tip in this direction just because of the effect that it gives you. If you notice sort of on the cabinetry itself, the way that the grain is all perfectly matched up, it's just that level of detail brings it to that next level. Other things, the way that this has been formed in that U shape is one continuous piece of wood, so you won't see any joins anywhere. The companionway steps, where they've been molded as well, is done in the same way. And that's really what brings these boats to that high standard, and also why they take about 18 months to 2 years to actually make, because of just how much goes into each and every one. The standard layout on the 56 is a 3 cabin. So you've got the owner's cabin at the back, which has got a really big central island berth with an ensuite. You've also got a bunk cabin to starboard at the front, and then at the very front, you've got the VIP cabin, which again is a central island berth. One notable change that you will find on the new 56 is the aft cabin windows. There used to be one on the 55, just one big window, but now they've actually put 2 big windows in, and the effects have been drastic. Really, really nice. One thing to notice as well, in the main saloon, these 2 footstools actually clip into place in this area whilst you're sailing, just to secure them down. It also then doubles up as a bit of a pilot berth, or maybe an extra bed if you're short on space. This central saloon bit is actually raised off the ground. A lot of people ask why, and that's just because all the heavy components are placed right above the keel. So your fuel tanks, your water tanks, your batteries, that keeps the boat exceptionally well balanced. Also looking at the table here, so it's set up as a dining table at the moment, but that will fold over, twist round and sort of drop down into a coffee table. So if you wanted to sort of access the sofa, you don't have to clamber over the top of people. It's all these little details that I just thought about exceptionally well. Looking at the sofas, one thing that they've really tried to focus on is just accessing technical spaces and your storage in an easy fashion. So gone are the days of having to rip all your cushions off and stow them somewhere to sort of get to your dry goods or whatever. And you also notice if you look inside these lockers, there's access directly into your technical space by just removing a few panels. So you don't have to pull things apart or destroy all your cabinets to access things. Because if you're in the middle of the ocean on a long distance passage, that would be an absolute nightmare. There is a television tucked behind here if you choose to have one, and that just pops up on an electric motor. Same again in the aft cabin. If you wanted a big TV mounted to the bulkhead, not a problem. One thing that contests also like to hide away as a nice little trick is a coffee corner. All the pods as well are stowed in their own little capsules, which is also a nice little party trick of theirs. Moving down into the galley. Induction is a standard. I think a lot of people are also shying away from gas at the moment because it's always a bit of a faff trying to get the right regulator to fit, and buying bottles is a nightmare, and especially if you've got a nice big bank of lithium. I mean, it's becoming ever more popular. Again, another massive window here, lots of light coming in. Fridges galore. That can be a fridge or a freezer depending on how you configure it. Another big drawer freezer here, big fridge up top. And behind me, they've spec'd this boat with a Fisher & Paykel dishwasher. One piece to mention from a technical standpoint is where they've put their fuel filters. And instead of keeping it in the engine room, which obviously is going to be very hot and not a really nice place to work, from a diesel engine point of view, if anything were to go wrong, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be dirty fuel. So in here, you've got your fuel scrubbers, and you've even got access to a little pump which goes directly into the bottom of the fuel tank. So you can take a little sample out and see if there's any sort of sediment at the bottom, which can then sort of troubleshoot any issues with the fuel. So building on the standard configuration, Contest have actually changed their interior layout slightly as an optional extra. We did have a few questions in the past saying, right, I've got a young family or I've got extra guests that normally stay on board, and it would be nice to have that extra bunk room. So what we've done is moved, as an option, this bulkhead, taken that out, and you actually have a bunk room to starboard, and the aft cabin is slightly rearranged where your bed's moved to port and the heads is actually moved further aft. A bit more dynamic depending on your situation. So here we are in the aft cabin, and what a wonderful space it is to be in. Touching on the 2 windows I mentioned before, and that's a new feature of the 56, and it just doubles all that lovely light, that natural light. And if you're led in bed, just looking over the water, if you're tucked up in a nice little bay somewhere. In the heads area over here, we've got a really nice recessed rainfall shower and direct access into the engine room, and there's also a washing machine in there. Welcome to the guest space of the Contest 56. So the VIP cabin is absolutely massive. The headspace is fantastic. Central island berth, as I mentioned before, loads of storage space, and there is a heads unit just to the port side of the boat, which feeds both the cabins. Moving out into our starboard guest cabin, there can be a couple of different configurations. So this one being the bunk bed, or you can just have one slightly larger single bed, or sort of a very comfortable single or double at a push. But if you wanted to do something else, like put an office in there, again, we are semi-custom, so it's certainly something we can look into. Thank you very much for joining us on this tour of the Contest 56 CS. If you'd like any additional information, please do not hesitate to get in touch, and we'll be more than happy to give you a hand. Thank you.